So, you're a newly promoted Class D road racer. If you want to go open wheel from this point forward, at least starting in Class D, you have three options: the USF 2000, the Renault 2.0, and the Skip Barber Racing Series. This will be a short video about the good, the bad, and overall interesting aspects of each of these cars, as well as which one you should probably pick when starting out. To start off with, we have the USF 2000, part of the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, which is a fixed series, ran every hour on the hour. To start off with, we'll go over some of the good points about the series. For one thing, it is a fixed setup series, which may be good or bad for you, but is probably a good thing for a D-Class entry open wheel series. It's also a part of the Road to Indy progression with the Indy Pro in Z-Class and the open setup Dallara series in Class B. It also has ovals, which could be a good or bad thing depending on the person, but it does stand out against the other ones in this race because of that reason. It also generally uses more free tracks. This season, Season 2, 2021, has 6 free tracks. On the last differentiating note, it also has rolling starts, which is different from both the Skippy and the Renault 2.0. This could as well be a good or bad thing, but in general it's just a different thing, not good or bad. Now unfortunately, we have to start talking about the USF 2000's bad points, with the main one being its quite low participation with relation to the other series. Overall, this season, it has 21 drivers per race, which is 6 drivers lower from the next lowest, the Renault 2.0 at 27. Though it does have a few more people who just started the series and didn't want to continue with it. Next up in the not so good points about the series is it has ovals, which for some people may be good, but for most people looking to do open wheel, it's not really a good thing. Most people usually want to do road only, but however, for some people this could be a good thing, and if you are that type of person, this is probably the series you should go for. Lastly, and while not the biggest deal for most people, especially in a fixed series, it has the lowest forum participation out of any of these three, which means you get less advice about how to take corners and whatnot. So just a little thing to think about when trying to choose your next car. Okay, next up is the Renault 2.0, which may be my favorite car out of the 3 available. This car has open setups with probably the most setup options available out of the 3, which is usually a good thing for people picking the car, but can be bad for people starting off with. But if you don't want to make your own setup, there is a free setup available on Major's Garage. Along with this, there is a $3 more advanced setup available with a qualifying setup. But most people, especially beginning, probably don't want to spend that extra money. Just a thing to think about. The last things kind of go together. It has a little bit better participation than the USF 2000 series, as we talked about earlier. And this leads to more race threads and just overall helpfulness in the forums for this car, which is usually a very good thing starting out with, which helps with the open setup type aspect of the series. Now, unfortunately, we have to talk about the bad points. One of which being the open setup aspect of the series is a little bit more difficult to get started with compared to both the Skippy and the USF 2000. It still has pretty low participation, especially compared to the Skippy, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But if you can get past those 2 aspects, the last bad thing will be races every 2 hours instead of every hour on the hour like the USF 2000 or every hour like the Skippy series. Which I believe they should probably change that to every hour like the USF 2000, especially considering the better participation, but who am I to judge how they do things at iRacing? Last up, and probably the car that most people will choose, is the Skip Barber Racing Series, which has by far the most participation out of the three. To start off with, this is part of an open setup series, but it is a very basic setup style, so if you don't want to change anything, you don't necessarily have to. And there is also a better setup than default available in the forums, in case you do want a slightly better setup. Along with this, the forum participation is vastly better than either the USF 2000 or the Renault, which definitely helps getting started in the series. Lastly, and probably the biggest thing about this series, is its participation. It has averaged 86 people per week this entire season so far, with over 100,000 people trying out the series at least once. This means that there are more splits, and therefore is a higher likelihood of placing you in a better split relative to your speed compared to either of the other series, since they don't split nearly as often. Lastly, and mostly just more on a side note, this car is actually part of a real-life racing school called the Skip Barber Racing School, which may mean it's better as a training car compared to the others, but it's more up to you if that's true or not, I feel like. Honestly, there's not very many bad points associated with the series. The two that I could come up with are that I personally don't like the feel of the car as much as the other two Class D series, but that probably comes with more experience racing. And this car has more pay-to-race tracks compared to the other two series, but it does reuse a lot of the tracks from season to season, so if you do buy them once, you can use them over and over again, which may be kind of a wash in your entire iRacing career. In the end, I feel like most people should probably pick the Skip Barber Racing Series over the Renault and the USF 2000, since it does have vastly superior participation and a much bigger community. But that's not to say the other two don't have their admirable qualities. If you want to race ovals, you should probably pick the USF 2000, or if you just want to fix series in general, or want to go to the Road to Indy side of things. If you want a more challenging and open setup series, you should probably go with the Renault 2.0. But that is definitely more of an advanced series, I feel like. So a Skip Barber to the Renault 2.0 may be the best choice in that regard. Hi everyone, thanks for watching the video. I hope it turned out right. It was a little bit different from what I would usually do. And let me know if it did or didn't in the comments below. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe for next time. And with that, let me know if you have any suggestions, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.